Our tape today will be about Revelation. Um, a lot of this subject matter has a lot of overlapping. I'm just going at it from different names and titles because I know that when I was younger, I was interested in all these things and didn't quite know who to talk to. Uh, Even when I had my first, major vision, revelation, when I was about 17, almost 18, uh, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. I went to my Baptist groups and that I was involved in back then, and said, well, that's not for today, and you have a fantastic imagination. And I said, no, I said, there's a little bit more than imagination here. Uh, Disappearing out of a house and having your father, who isn't a particularly religious person, on that, is telling me he looked for me for like 2 hours or 4 hours, whatever it was, and couldn't find me when that. That's a little bit unusual to have that happen because I wasn't even sure myself if I had left the house. I thought it was just a vision, and I didn't know what those things were back then. But, I never heard of those things. Maybe today in today's society, maybe those things are more commonplace, and people talk about it more liberally than they did then. Doesn't mean that they weren't liberal or as liberal maybe back then as they are now, but it just wasn't uppermost in people's conversations. You didn't hear it from other classmates, or you didn't hear it in the street, you didn't hear it in the news. You hear about groups and this kind of thing. So really, it's quite a bizarre thing. I mean, I knew roughly that the people had visions. I heard of psychics and all that stuff, and prophets probably from the Old Testament. But anyway, this is a good point to bring out because uh, Revelation is something that everybody seeks for, especially people that are young Christians. I myself went into the book of Revelation and tried to find out what it all meant. I thought, oh boy, I can really figure this out. It's there in the Bible and blah blah blah. And all I did I was engaging an accordion knot, and then finally I got disgusted and left it alone and said to myself, well, I have to start off from ground zero. And of course, it took a long time even to get to ground zero. I had to find out what it really was, and not what I thought it was, and what other people had told me it was. So it took many years to get to that point. However, I did have this thing happen to me, but as I learned through vicariously through or by way of attrition from different authors and stuff like that, that these type of things can happen to almost anybody, but the person himself has to make application uh, to a walk or what have you, where he goes to God, and he learns how to pray, he learns how to wait on the Lord, all that stuff, and then that way later on, the very thing that I had was a vision, which was a big thing. There's now something I have, those kind of visions, uh, pretty much maybe none of, well, in that category probably 5 or 10 times a day, and other minor ones probably in the hundreds. I'm able to tune in. I rather use the word tune in. Doesn't mean that's a cultic or a psychic on that. Uh, it may well be there are people that are psychic and use the term psychic when really they are operating in the spirit, but they lack the acumen or semantics to say it the right way. I've actually encountered people I would go to that were psychics and get readings from them. Not so much because I needed the reading, but just as they were tuning into me, I was tuning into them. So as they held my hand, I could tune in and find out where they were at. Actually, I worked for a psychic one time, and I was painting back then. And I was painting on top of the house of her psychic, a building that she was working out of. I think they also lived there too. Uh, so when I was on the roof, I saw these four spirits. They were like gypsies, as it were, and as soon as I came out there, I didn't have to say anything, and they just they split, you know. And then she came in. She came after me later on. She says, "Well, could you get off the roof?" And you know, I can't operate my trade because we had some conversations earlier. Well, no, we didn't have a conversation. It happened later on. So she had two people there that she was cavorting with, and I was in the room just for a split second, and then later on I came back to her and I said, the one man that you were talking to, he's actually engaging in a private homosexual affair on the side, even though he's come to you and said he has marital problems. And I told her, if you tell this to this guy, don't reveal your source. For two reasons. One is that I don't want exposure at this time, and it would be a detriment to your business. I mean, howbeit as it is, you know, psychic business. I guess we're told that that's the wrong thing to do, and you know, we're not supposed to collect money for our gifts. So anyway, she did that, and he was so blown away that she hit the nail on the head. And he asked her, "How did you know this?" And he took off and never came back. Now there was another woman that was coming there too, and I tuned into that situation. It was really kind of a bizarre thing for me. Even back then, I even encountered something like this just recently. It's still bizarre. I got that she was from India and that she had sex with either a horse or a jackass or what have you, and that she was upset about it. She was on the verge of death. She had pockets of poison in her body. They were ready to, I guess, explode in her body at any time, and we're going to kill her. And that the only thing she had to do was just confess it. You know, if it meant just confessing it to the psychic or wherever, and just confess it, say, "Hey, I did this thing." If she just do that, then she would be, you know, healed. Or, you know, of course, healing is, you know, over a period of time. Miracles is instantaneous. You know, miracles is to healing as I don't know, dynamite is to gunpowder. So she did that, and the woman got flabbergasted, took off, came back, and then the psychic lady asked me, she says, "Well, why do you think these people come here and talk to me if I don't really fully know what I'm doing?" So, "Well, because you're a nice person, and you know, you're a woman, and it's probably easier to talk to a woman than it is to a man." So then she made me an offer. She wanted me to be part of her deal. You know, her father owned a bank up in L.A., San Marino Bank, so he was very wealthy, had a lot of expensive cars, and he was pretty well off. And she made me quite an attractive offer, you know, but I guess, you know, I couldn't do it, you know. So, bully for me now. Let me pat myself in the back here. Good boy. Anyway, so back to Revelation in general, and you have to learn how to walk before you can crawl. It takes a while, and then you bear in mind that the revelation that I didn't get because I was looking for it. It just happened. And I've had certain major visitations of that category. The other ones were while I was awake, probably 9 or 10. Sometimes many years goes by before I get it, those kind of things come in. One of them had to do with a question about creation and evolution. And the Spirit of God came in real strong, made it real clear that the evolutionary model was correct, the creation model was incorrect, and then said that there was no creation, it always was. And then later on I asked about the origin of the universe and life on that. He said it's locked up in the atom like a seed. When it explodes and gives birth to all kinds of life, it's locked up in the seed of an atom. Pretty much like the way it is for pine cone seeds. You know, pine cone seeds don't grow unless there's a fire. It's kind of a catch-22. They have to have a fire, so that means several trees, thousands of trees get burned up, and in the process, the seeds get released in that fire. Kind of like a metamorphosis or a thanatopsis. These are different terms from literature. Or that one would be like a phoenix. So that's it for right now.